Hi, everyone. Oh, boy. So this is my first one of these, and thank you for having me here. I'm incredibly gratified. I don't entirely know what to do except read my questions on the right here. I do miss you all. I wish I could see you all in person and give you larger than usual hugs. Oh my goodness, it's blown up on the right hand side there. Okay, we've got a lot of questions. Okay, I'll just dive right into it. I'm going to address some of these questions. Kellyanne87 says, "Hey Daniel, I'm Kelly. Would you consider reading a book for Audible in Elijah's accent?" Yeah, I definitely would. I've actually just recently started in my voiceover work. I did Thor for Marvel last year, and I'm actually doing a Japanese animation thing right now, which is really fun. And yeah, I'm totally enjoying it. I feel very blessed to be able to do that work, especially during COVID, when a lot of our filming has been canceled. I'm trying to think of the perfect book to read in Elijah's accent. I'm trying to think of something incredibly feminine. Should be funny. I don't know. I'm looking at my bookshelf here. I don't know. Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment seems apt. Thank you for the question, Kelly. Oriella asks, what old person things do you do? Oriella, all I do these days is old person things. I mean, I can't tell you the number of times I've been called a boomer online, which is factually inaccurate, by the way. My parents were boomers, so I find that incredibly offensive. Yeah, old person things. I mean, that's my life right now. I look after a 5 and a 7-year-old. Oh, goodness me, I got a little hook there, don't I? Whatever. That's going to be persistent. Old people things. That's all I do. I run around after a 5 and a 7-year-old, and I'm doing homeschooling, and I mean, I guess that's not an old person thing. That's a slightly grown up person thing to do. I consider it an old person thing to do. I have single friends who say to me, God, it's the worst. It's terrible. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, all I can think is, Jesus, I'm so jealous of the time you have. But I guess the grass is greener, right? I'm trying to think really specifically of an old person thing I do. Oh, you know what? I whistle. I whistle like an old man. There you go. That's an old person. I mean, I don't know. I always seem to imagine curmudgeonly old men whistling. So that's something old I do, I guess. Anyway. Daniel, what's the first? Oh, this is from Codlin29. She says, Daniel, what's the first thing you're going to do after COVID-19? I just want to travel again. I want to see you guys. I want to be able to safely get on a plane and go to somewhere fun. I think it's either L Blatch or I Blatch. I don't know how to say that name. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be? Probably Joseph Morgan, so that I could murder him. Then he'd be dead. Sabrin Aruela. What do you like about the Michelson brothers' relationship? It's not something I think about terribly much. What do I like about it? Goodness, what do I like about the relationship? I thought it was kind of a toxic relationship, actually. A whole lot of forgiveness on the part of Elijah for his brother constantly betraying him. I'm not sure I like that relationship, actually. It's not one that I would desire with my brother. Anyway, Oriella, what quotes do you use on a regular basis? What movie quotes? I don't use movie quotes on a regular basis. I don't. I like quotes from people who are mostly not in the movies. I heard a beautiful one the other day by Elizabeth King. She's an American sculptor. She says, Process saves us from the poverty of our intentions. That's process saves us from the poverty of our intentions. I like that one. This one is from Cosette Renab. Hi, my name is Cosette. How was your transition from playing a character like Elijah for so long to a more realistic show like Virgin River? Oh, yeah, I mean, there was no transition. It's just like, I understand the question, but frankly, playing Elijah was something that I just that I did. It wasn't something that kind of lived with me. I wasn't walking around like Elijah or think it wasn't like something I had to shed. It's more difficult to shed roles that are truly emotionally demanding, like movies and stuff. Like the movie I just did in New Zealand last year, Coming Home in the Dark. That stuff's tougher to get rid of as a person. It's more that you, as a person, you have to sort of shed certain idiosyncrasies and characteristics. And also that you're, it was just so emotionally demanding. But Elijah was like a costume for me. Persia Maria, actually it's Persa Maria. Hi, I'm Persa. What do you think Elijah would do in a global pandemic? I don't know. Wouldn't it be like Christmas for him? It'd be amazing. It's a smorgasbord. I mean, I don't mean to belittle the horror and the sorrow of this, but there are a lot of bodies, and I imagine it's probably, I hate to say it, but it's probably an amazing time for him. I know that sounds so politically incorrect, but SXC Gillies, what was your favorite part of Saving Hope? Oh, I loved Saving Hope. I thought it was a good show, actually. I loved, particularly the first season was very good. I worked with a director there by the name of David Wellington. He drove me crazy some days, but I learned so much from him, and he was one of my favorite parts. But also that cast was just so amazing, and they were all so talented and such pros. I love that cast. I love that cast, our directors and the crew. Chrissy T, is there a role you auditioned for that you really wanted but didn't get? Oh yeah, that's part of being an actor, And it's the problem with our jobs is it's not a meritocracy, so it's not really about. Am I boring you guys? I'm probably boring you guys, right? It's not about being the best. It's sometimes why I envy people in athletics. It's why I watch so much UFC stuff, and I admire the fact that there's definitive and distinctive winners and losers, or ostensibly so, right? So I like the idea of I don't mean to create competition out of art by saying that about acting, but our business is so about getting if you happen to land a role in something that's large and creates a lot of waves, then that generates a whole lot more work. It's not, we're so often up against it. It doesn't matter how well you audition or how good you are or how much better you are than the person necessarily that got the role. It's not exactly a just system. But even then, too, like sometimes it is a just system. It rarely is, but sometimes it is. And yeah, there's been many roles I didn't get that I really wanted to do. I auditioned. I think it was it was earlier this year. I think Amazon's doing a thing with Lord of the Rings, and there was a role in there that I really wanted, and haven't heard back. So that's one that flew the coop. Emily Swinell, what are you most excited about in Operation Rainfall? Well, Emily, I'm most excited about just seeing the film. The film I'm impressed by what Luke Spark is the name of the director and the creator, and it's a beautiful piece of work. I mean, he made that for very little money, you know, and I think he made it look like a $80 million film. I really do, and so I'm just excited to see the movie itself. I was a little nervous going into it, knowing that he was doing it on a lower budget, but I'd seen what he'd done with his former movie, and I saw that he was able to sort of squeeze blood from that stone. He's an amazingly resourceful and talented guy, and my God, he's got big brass balls. That's right, I said balls, everyone. Get over it. All right. Kirsten, what is your favorite Christmas movie or tradition? My favorite Christmas movie is Die Hard. My favorite Christmas tradition, well, now it's just like being with the kids. You know, like I just love how excited they get. I kind of almost like Christmas Eve more now because of how giddy they get, you know, even though we're not a Christian family, but like most people in the West, we celebrate Christmas, you know. Yeah, that's probably my favorite part of it. It's just watching the kids get delirious and then trying to control them after they've had too much sugar the next morning. What famous person do you fanboy geek out for if you were to meet? Keely Gray asks this question. What famous person do you fanboy out for? So I was, this is going to sound so pretentious and self-aggrandizing, but for whatever reason, a slob like me ended up at a party several years ago. It was a birthday party for Salman Rushdie, the writer. Again, I don't know how I was there. I do know a friend of mine was a dear friend of his, so it was just luck. And there was a lot of fabulous people at this party, but at one point I staggered backwards because I guess I was having a beer or something. I wasn't already drunk, so don't call me a lightweight. I know what you're thinking. You think I'm a lightweight. It's not true. Get the fuck out of here with that. No, sorry, I won't do that today. I staggered back, maybe to give somebody some room. I can't remember what I was doing. Anyway, I elbowed some gentleman right behind me. He was kind of slight, frail, and I felt as soon as I elbowed him that I got him right in the solar plexus. So I turned to apologize and say, "Hey man, I'm so sorry." And I turned around and it was Lou Reed. So I elbowed Lou Reed in the solar plexus. He didn't look happy about it either. So it was a real cauldron of emotions at that point in time because I was meeting a god of mine, and so I was fanboying, but at the same time, I was really, really deeply, deeply humiliated. Anyway, give me a second. I'm just going to do a little switcheroo thing here. Check the historic. Oh my God, there's lots of you there. Goodness me. Lots of activity. It's Marina. Hi. It's Marina says, "Hi, what's your favorite thing about working with Joseph?" When they would call cut and it was his time to, when it was time to leave the set, go in our different directions. That was my favorite time. Brooks Wright. Brooks Wright. That's tricky. Hi, Daniel. Who did you like portraying more, Joel or Elijah? I couldn't really compare them. It's sort of, it's like chocolate and vanilla, or apples and oranges. I enjoyed both those sets. I was very spoiled in that I had amazing people around me in both of those jobs, and I laughed a considerable amount on both sets. Marcella says, "Hi, I'm Marcella. What's your favorite line from Elijah? And what's the funniest thing you remember while on the set of it?" My favorite line of Elijah's, I don't remember. I don't watch the show. I haven't watched, apart from the episodes I directed, I haven't seen from beginning of season 3, I think, on. So I'm not too, and also too, my brain just dispenses with lines that Elijah says. I don't know. I can't remember many lines of Elijah's. I can't remember any. I remember "Gentlemen, shall we?" I remember that because I was about to do a huge action scene, so that line went into my head. What else? Oh, Julie Plec wrote a beautiful line one time for the Vampire Diaries. I'm pretty sure it was Julie. And I think she wrote, "Mother didn't make us monsters, we did that to ourselves." I think I'm talking to Rebecca. I like that line. The funniest thing I remember while on the set of TVD, all of it. The whole thing was funny. The whole thing was a very, 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 very funny experience. Well, on TVD, you know what? Paul Wesley's a very, very funny man. He's a very, very amusing human, and I think we share a bit of a similar sensibility. He's mischievous, Paul, and I like anybody who's got a little bit of a laugh in their eyes. And Paul has a very large laugh behind those eyes at all times, and he's aware of how silly life can be sometimes, and I like that about Paul. He's a wonderfully funny human. I am not even going to try and it's Xrsa CO3. I don't know, Xrysa CO3. Hi Daniel. Oh, here we go. I'm Chrissa from Greece. Which is your favorite book and why? Man, that's a great question. What's my favorite book? I mean, Catch-22, it made me laugh more than just about any other book ever. I mean, howling with laughter. I have just finished reading Dune by Frank Herbert. It was pretty amazing in terms of its vision, but I certainly wouldn't call it my favorite book. Yeah, those two. I would say Catch-22, or and I read Kerouac's On the Road recently, which is kind of stunning and bright and beautiful. And I should have read it many years ago, obviously. Abby Spur says, "Would you consider a UFC yourself, Daniel?" No, I'm 44. Are you kidding me? First of all, these fighters, the good ones, the really good ones, retire at like 33. You know. I do wish I'd found martial arts or Muay Thai, and I would have done Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with it had I been young enough. You know, when my body was younger. I wish I'd started younger, because I certainly wouldn't have even competed then. I think you have to have a real desire to do that stuff. But I wish I'd started younger, because I would have loved to have had a good few more years of hitting the pads. The Great British Moose. What a wonderful name. Great British Moose. Evening from England. I'm Mo. I hope you're well. Do you have any advice for aspiring actors and actresses? Yeah, don't wait. Don't wait. If you think you've got something you want to say and you think you can say it, say it. Don't ever wait for the phone. Don't wait for the right agent. Go and put on plays with your friends. You have phones right now that are better camera. I shot my movie. I directed a movie, 10 years ago. Your phones are just about as good as the cameras I was shooting my movie on 10 years ago. You guys can make your own stuff. Make your own stuff, create it. You even have platforms you can stream your stuff on. Just go and make, if you're an actor, decide and call yourself an actor today. Go and make your own work. Produce it, make it, cut it, and send it out there. Don't worry if it's not perfect. Just worry about getting experience. Don't worry about it all, actually. Just go and get experience. And do theater, for God's sakes. I'm noticing a lot of actors emerging now who are aspiring actors and actresses who have no interest in theater. I'm like, you're never going to be very good. Because it's like the military for actors. It's just, I can tell, I can see in an actor when they've trained that way. Maggie Mills. Hi, Daniel. I'm Maggie. What's your favorite episode of Virgin River to make and why? Honestly, Maggie, I can't tell. They do what's called block shooting with me. So when I go to Canada, I often shoot 5 or 6, scenes in a row, and they'll be from all different episodes. So I couldn't tell you what my favorite episode was, because I don't know which things I filmed belong in which episodes. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched any of season 2, and I haven't watched half of season 1. I'm sure the show is very good. I watched a couple of the episodes, but I couldn't tell you which episode is my favorite. I love Alex Breckenridge, and I do most of my stuff with her. And of course, Martin Henderson is dreamy and talented. Don't tell him I said that. He's another Kiwi. Don't tell him. Tanya, 17. Daniel, greetings from Russia. Большое спасибо. What languages do you know? Oh, I can speak like a handful of words from several countries, but yeah, it's really Spanish and English of the two. Sangeeta asks, hey, I'm Sangeeta from India. Besides acting, what else do you like to do? Well, I like to watch UFC. I paint, not nearly frequently enough. I write most days. And actually, in COVID, believe it or not, I started, at 44, I started working out every day. So I just decided I was looking a little portly, shall we say. Don't tell Joseph Morgan I said that, but I was looking a little round. Actually, round was something that Charles Michael Davis called me. Described me as looking a little round after one of our decadent trips through Europe together. And he wasn't wrong when I look back at those photographs. I couldn't see it at the time. But now I'm working out pretty much every day. I don't it says, what do you like to do? I don't like to work out, but I now do it every day. Also, too, it helps with anxiety. I get bouts of anxiety. When I work out, it completely removes any and all anxiety. Ariana Miller says, hi, were you okay with the way the originals ended? Sure. It wasn't Ariana. It wasn't my call. It's fine. It was going to end however it was going to end. It wasn't my call. I wasn't attached in that way. I just wanted to see my children again, which I hadn't for several years, and I just wanted to be with my family. Abba Park asks me, hey Daniel, when is part 2 of 50 Shades of Grey coming out? Ugh, God, I almost wish I hadn't read that question. Not that it isn't a good one. It's just that Abba, I feel guilty because I had episode 2 all lined up and ready to shoot, and then a gentleman by the name of George Floyd was murdered senselessly and horrifically, in the United States. And so I just felt like it was in poor taste for me to shoot that then. And so I decided to leave it a couple of months, and I left it a couple of months, and now it's, more time has raced by. But the engine was burning hot, like before the whole BLM movement. At any rate, William 9771 said, is it true you was meant to be in Spider-Man 3? Well, no, I was not meant to be in Spider-Man 3. I did sign a deal with them to be in Spider-Man 3, but it was sort of conditional on where they took the story. And so I had already signed a deal for 3 if they wanted to take the story in a certain direction, but they didn't go in that direction. They were talking about bringing Wolfman in as a potential adversary for Spider-Man, and they didn't go. They decided that Wolfman wasn't the way they wanted to go. Jordana Manda 91. Daniel, do you prefer directing or acting? That's a great question, Jordana. It's a question I ask myself every day. I know I'm a better actor than director because I've had much more experience as an actor. But directing is where you actually, if I'm directing my own material, I prefer directing. If I'm directing somebody else's stuff, it's still incredibly fun and incredibly fulfilling. I just It's not nearly as fulfilling as my own work for myself. Because then you get to say what you would like to say to the world. How are you guys doing anyway? I just want to check in with you because I've been talking a lot. Oh my goodness. You are rampant in there. There is a lot of stuff. Goodness me. Brittany, how many people are there? Oh, she probably can't hear me. Or she can, but she probably can't talk. Neve Pence. Would you? It's an unfortunate last name, I will say. I'm kidding, but he is not a great person. He soiled that name. Would you rather have 100 kittens or 3 sloths? P.S. I love you. Okay, I don't know if loving me includes asking me about sloths, but 100 kittens or 3 sloths? I don't know. Are sloths supposed to be a big problem? Because I'll tell you, I wouldn't want 1 kitten right now. I have 2 cats here in the house, and they are it's a disaster. They are elderly cats, shall we say, and one of them pees on everything. I've washed my entire bed linen, duvet cover, blanket, pillowcases. I've washed everything, all my bed linens, 4 times in 3 days. It's because my cat has now decided that my bed is her fucking toilet. That's right, I said fucking. It's a dire situation. Leave me alone. Cat litter in their little feet. They destroy all the furniture. Give me 3 sloths. 3 sloths. I'll build them a cage outside. I'll do something. Get 3 sloths for sure. Summer D. Freitag says, if Haley and Elijah never died, do you think they would have had a chance together? Nah. Come on. Your brother knocked her up. It was pretty doomed from the outset. Although I do love Phoebe Tonkin very much. Not a show. Amanda Fade, do you take any of Elijah's suits home? Yeah, I did. I took several of them because it was fitted to me. And I'll shamelessly say that. I'm probably going to get a knock at the door for saying this online, but I took them. What are you going to do about it? Come get me. Come take them out of my cold, dead hands. And it says, Suhana, Joseph fan. Okay, well, I'm going to answer this question with contempt. Daniel, can you cook? Favorite go-to comfort food? Love from India. God, I love India. I need to go back. It's been too long. Suhana, yes. No, I'm saying it wrong. Suhani. I'm sorry. Suhani. Yeah, I have to learn how to cook because I'm looking after 2 little people. So actually, my kids made me a much better cook. Go-to comfort food, bowl of cereal. I love cereal. If I'm watching everything these days because I'm working out so hard, so I can't. Like I haven't even eaten today, and it's 10:44. I won't eat till like 1 or 2 o'clock because I'm doing that intermittent fasting thing. But I don't think a day goes by where I don't eat some chocolate. I always eat even a little square dark chocolate, and cereal. Give me a bowl of cereal. I love it. Wow, that's good, Brittany. That's almost better than some of our auditoriums. Emily Swinello, I don't know, Swinell, whatever. Yeah, not whatever. Emily's, I think Swinell. Hey, Daniel, I'm Emily. I got that part. I need you to know, do you like Star Wars? And if you do, what character would you want to play? Emily, I think Star Wars is amazing. The universe that George Lucas created. I think that every film that's happened since then has been a disaster. I like elements of Rogue One. The new Star Wars, like George Lucas's second trilogy was all terrible. I didn't even really like the second half of Jedi or the Ewok stuff. I like the first 2 movies. I think Empire Strikes Back is one of the great movies of last century. Like one of the great, and Star Wars too. Star Wars and Empire were 2 of the great sci-fi movies like of all time. but nothing's been good since. They've been terrible. You cannot replace mystery, I should say, with trickery, and that's what they've done. It's just all trickery and guest star stuff. I felt nothing. I actually funny you should ask that. I just watched the Last Skywalker the other night because I thought, oh, I'll check this out. I never saw it, and I watched them from beginning to end, and it was beautiful to look at, and I felt nothing for it. I just felt nothing. It was so busy trying to please. So, but I do love the Star Wars universe. I love it. I've liked certain episodes of The Mandalorian, but it's kind of lost its mystery for me as well. The first episode of The Mandalorian was amazing, and actually last night's episode, the one with Bill Burr, I think it's chapter 15, was pretty good. I keep up with it because I want it to be as good as the pilot. It never is, but now and again there'll be a moment in it where there'll be a scene. It's just, yeah, not the greatest acting in that. Although Bill Burr was fantastic. Marcella, what would be your designated weapon in a zombie apocalypse? Probably an audiobook of Joseph Morgan's life. Like, an autobiography that he's made, that he's like a book on tape. Put them all to sleep. Yarin Yaziki. Yarin asks, hey, Daniel, maybe it's Yaron. Actually, I'm going to go with Yaron. Hey, Daniel, I'm Yaron. Which TV series are you watching lately? Well, I am keeping up with The Mandalorian, even though, again, it's sort of in vain. But what else am I watching? I love Fargo, but this latest season was not nearly as good as the first three. In fact, the first two seasons that were terrific. What else am I watching? I loved The Undoing. I watched The Undoing. I thought that was really fantastic. I watched that with my girlfriend. I cannot say this name. Kindyakova? Lisa Kindyakova. Hi, Daniel. My name's Lisa. I live in Russia, clearly. I want to ask you, have you ever read fan fiction? No, I never have. Lisa, I haven't. The only fan fiction I've ever read was when I was making 50 Shades of Gillies. I decided to read a little bit of 50 Shades of Grey. And it was every bit as atrocious as I thought it would be. And I know that it's derived, or it came from this fan fiction. It was original fan fiction. So it's the only fan fiction I can really say I've read. And it was some of the most ghastly writing I've ever seen in my life. I don't think I'll ever, I might read worse, but Sarah Mora, hey Daniel, I was wondering if you would have done a crossover with Supernatural. Sarah Mora, I don't know, I've never seen the show. I've met those gentlemen, and they are lovely men. Jensen and I can't remember the other gentleman's name. Jensen and Jared Jensen. Am I saying that right? Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, they are sweet men, and I also met Misha briefly, and he's also a lovely man. Very briefly at a Comic-Con. So I don't know if we could have done a crossover. I'd never seen the show. Suhani got another question. Interesting. So there's some favoritism here. Jared and Jensen? Okay, whatever. Daniel, what did you guys drink as substitute for blood in the originals? Wine. It's usually red. I insisted on a Burgundy or a port. I don't remember a day when I wasn't, doing those things where I wasn't inebriated or entirely. I'm joking. No, I don't know. It was some sort of sugar syrup thing. I think it had tasted kind of like maple syrup, I think. It had a maple in it, actually. And red food coloring. And yeah. Anyway, did I run out of questions? I might run out. Oh, here we go. Oh, no, there's so many. Sophie, it says, are you still in contact with anyone from TVD or TO, and who? Oh, yeah, I'm in touch with all of them, really. I talk to Leah Pipes probably the most frequently, and who I worship. And I also keep in touch with Charles Michael Davis. I love Phoebe. I keep in touch with Joseph. I haven't spoken to Yusuf Gatewood, who I would love to see, though. I kind of would love to reach out and see what he's up to. I miss all of these guys. I think they're all amazing. Trying to think of who else. And TBD, yeah, I was more in touch with Paul. This year it's been a little quiet, but I still sort of stay in touch with Paul. And it's conventions that kind of keep us in touch, and unfortunately, because those are gone, it's kind of killed our connection a little bit. Amanda, what do you miss most from the Originals? My friendships, the laughter we had on the set. That's what I miss the most. Natasha Romanoff, what new skills have you learned in quarantine? Well, not new skills, Natasha. I just mostly, it's the workout. It's really just, working out every day, really, and writing every day, making sure that those two things are taken care of. I think I've mastered my autonomy at 44 a little better than I used to. Yeah, I think I've established better habits for living during quarantine. I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but I think I know what to do with my own time a little better and how to manage my time even with the kids. This is from Heba152. Hey Daniel, I'm Heba. Here's my question. What country would you like to visit the most? Your dream destination? Lots of love from Morocco. Well, actually, and I'm not just saying this, I've thought about Marrakesh a lot. I would love, love, love to go to Morocco. I'd also love to go, oh my God. I don't know. A beach someplace right now is a bit of a dream destination. Anywhere in the Caribbean. I want to be in warm blue waters. That sounds like the best. But in terms of countries I'd like to visit the most, yeah, Morocco is definitely up there. I'd like to go to Sweden. I've never been to Sweden. I would like to. I'd like to travel across Africa a little more. Well, I mean, you're Northern Africa, but I'd like to go to Croatia, perhaps with Nathaniel Bozolic, who I forgot to mention before. By the way, I'm still in touch with Nathaniel. He's great. He's amazing. And also Daniel Sharman, who I keep in touch with once in a while, who is a fabulous human and a wonderful, wonderful actor. Emily S., who's your favorite singer? That's a great question. Do you know, my favorite singer is a guy from the 90s. He had this really soulful, beautiful sound. I don't think he produces stuff much anymore. His name is Terence Trent D'Arby. I think he was, it's a very spiritual sound. I think he came from, he's a British gentleman. Look him up, Terence Trent D'Arby. I loved his voice almost more than I've loved anyone's sound. If you needed Jay-Z, I can help you with that. If you needed Jay-Z, all right, I'm not entirely sure what that means. Thank you, Emily. Jordan Amanda, 911, would you ever think about doing an autobiography? No, not at this moment. That seems like something to do in the twilight of your career. And I'm far from that. But thank you for asking the question, Jordan. I always think it's a little pretentious when people do autobiographies when they're like 30 or 35. There's something strange about. I think anywhere beneath 45 is a little strange, because there's so much life yet to live. Particularly as an artist, you can be an artist your entire life. I understand it if you're doing an autobiography and you're an athlete. Totally get that. Like, if you accomplished amazing things, and you're 33 years old and your body simply can't do what it used to do, and and your 20s was really where you shone as an athlete, that makes total sense to me. But if you have a career where you can do it most of your life, why would you do that before? Unless you've got an incredible story to tell. Always and Forever Love says, "Hi Daniel, my name is Dominique, and I was wondering why you wanted to start your acting career." Honestly, Dominique, just because I'm pretty lazy, and I wasn't very good at anything. I was good at some other things, but not, and I think that acting was the thing that I thought, well, I can do this fairly well. And I was very lucky in that when I was a kid, when I was very young, like 6, I started doing theater productions. Because I started so young, I just think it got into my head then that I could have an acting career. I don't remember. There was no epiphany moment. I'm lazy, and I thought, what can I do that isn't work but is kind of work? George Mavro. Hi Daniel, have you tried the Brothers Bond bourbon? No, I'm not really a bourbon guy. I'm happy for those two gentlemen, Brothers Bond. Have you tried it, George? I don't know. Interesting. I'd be curious to know what it's like. I'm not a bourbon guy. Just don't like it. I like gin. I'm a bit of a gin guy. I like martinis, like my martinis. And boy, in COVID, I've definitely seen a lot more gin than I normally would. And what's interesting is, I never used to drink at home. Now, every other night I'll have like a drink or something at home. Because who wouldn't in this political climate? Maggie Mills says, Daniel, would you ever take part in a horror movie? Maggie, you don't follow my career nearly closely enough. I've been in a couple of horrors. I would. At this stage, that's right, I'm taking out my gum. Look, I'm even drinking the tonic that I have my gins with. I'm not drinking the gin. Would I take part in a horror movie? It would have to be an exceptional new concept. Like, it would have to be something that I thought, oh, this is really bringing something to the genre. God, I can never remember the names of films. What was that one? There've been a couple recently. Like, if it was something like The Quiet Place, right? Which isn't strictly a horror; it's more like a thriller, but. The Quiet Place introduced this whole other element. I thought John Krasinski's direction in that was masterful. Like the performances in that movie, the idea of that movie, it's just a beautiful, beautiful story. And it's saying so much about family. I love Krasinski's The Quiet Place. It's beautiful. So it'd have to be something revolutionary. Ceci says, hey, Daniel, do you paint? What do you paint? Like abstract art or portraits? I only draw portraiture, and it's always Paul Wesley. They're not very good, but, paint what you love. He's never wearing very much in any of them. In fact, I would say he's wearing nothing at all. Sue me. Last question. Ava Parke, who I remember from before, because that name was a real challenge to me. Love from India. Daniel, I love you so much. Okay, thank you so much. How was being a father in quarantine for you? Well, of the children I know of, it was particularly challenging. I got to tell you, when we started the homeschooling, that was the most challenging stuff. And I'm newly separated, and so that's tricky too, because we have to. We have to do, share custody of the children and doing that. And so you're constantly sort of solo parenting and then getting these breaks. And it's tricky with the kids. I say newly, it's been 2 years, but my experience with the kids, I just want them to feel comfortable and as loved and as nurtured as possible. And that's a tall order for a parent. You know, schools are vital, and you don't realize that quite so much as you do when you're in quarantine, and you're kind of handcuffed to tasks now that you didn't have to do before. So I'll say that being a father in quarantine has been incredibly challenging. But I will say, I always have the thought that, you know, as a let's say a 65-year-old man, right? I would give everything I own. I would give any money to be able to travel back in time and meet my 5-year-old son and my 7-year-old daughter for even 5 minutes, right? So keeping that in mind, I'm like, look, these are the moments. As difficult as they are, this is a beautiful period, and they are exquisitely cute. So anyway, guys, it's been beautiful. A little lonely. I miss you because I miss making you laugh, and it's harder to make the kind of dumb jokes that I'm inclined to make when I can't see you or feel your presence. But I love you all, and I hope I get to see you in person sometime soon. Yay, Pfizer and Moderna. Yay, 2021. Here's hoping I get to see you. My love to you all, and thank you so much for allowing me to do this. It was it's a beautiful experience.